Hello, my name is Bart Brecka, and this is the second installment of the Clay Bake Challenge from Product Design Forums, where I'm going to remodel the clay porcelain glass water pitcher. We'll say tea pitcher. The Product Design Forums challenge that I presented was one to get a variety of different software packages to perform CATIA, SolidWorks, Rhino, Alias, and in this video, I'm going to present from scratch the clay porcelain pot. Okay, my first step will be to create a revolve, but before I do so, I'm going to create a parametric bounding box, or a lattice part of a lattice structure. A lattice structure would be a compound version of a bounding box. Okay, so we'll just make it about that big. Now this bounding box can parametrically update. Okay, I'm hitting Control G with my fingers. My second sketch will be the start of the revolved form, and I'll use a 3-degree curve. I'm using some of the terms from Alias, and taking advantage of the parent-child constraints, I'm locking it to the outside there. I'm going to go ahead and force tangency inside a sketcher to the top. We'll turn that to a construction curve. Okay, and check out of that, then exercise my geometry so you can see how it will eventually update. My second sketch, third sketch, will be the bottom, where I like to come back in and align it as a separate step here, and force tangency at the top, force that to a construction geometry. I'm trying to race the clock to do this all in 5 or 10 minutes. My fourth sketch, see how that works. I can sort of grab that and tug and pull on that. I'm hoping to kind of show how inside of ProEngineer Wildfire 3 I can parametrically prove form, which is something I think the industrial designers would want to do in a software like SolidWorks, where you can't really drag that geometry just yet. I'm sure in a later version SolidWorks tends to catch up pretty quick. We'll see if they will look at this video and maybe take a hint. In this step, I'll force tangency here. This is one of my favorite things to do inside of a parametric modeler, because I can really get sort of some of the Alias functionality, yet I can control. Notice how this dimension, the 197's dimension to the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and dimension it to the center of the two vertices there. I'm going to make that a horizontal dimension. Okay, now I can double click on that and get in, take it back to the 3-degree curve. Notice the 2 CVs, and tug and pull on that geometry like that. And now when I exercise this geometry, no matter what I do over here, my radius keeps primarily the same form, which is pretty exciting for me, especially when I go back in hindsight. The 15 minutes before I send it off for tooling, I can make a pretty significant change and witness the entire geometry update. Okay, so now my third effort will be to revolve a surface. Let's revolve it about the center here at 180 degrees instead of 360. And there's my half of the water pitcher, but look how I get sort of this parametric update ability here. Kind of I always found that this modifiability, it's not how fast you model something, it's how fast can you change it 20 times. My next step will be to create an ISDX feature, and this ISDX feature will be the basic bake, if you will, the glass overlay. Okay, so what I've done is I forced this curve not tangent to that surface on purpose. So I'm going to go back and in a second step and force the resultant surface tangent, and it's going to force that curve tangent. I'm going to go ahead and lock a curve here, planar, snap the end. I'll take the bottom there and force that tangent, or maybe even curvature if I so desired. Let's see, this curve should be a free curve. I'm going to go ahead and force this end, implied tangent. We say in ProEngineer normal, but in Alias you call that implied tangent because your intention is to go ahead and mirror that geometry. This last curve, I'm going to go ahead and edit it relative to that plane that I just made highlighted. That way I'm moving it relative to that plane. So I'm going to go ahead and edit it relative to this plane, and then just take the datum curve and pull on it. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and build a surface, and if you look, you'll notice the surface connectivity icon, let's make them a little smaller so we can see them, doesn't show tangency. When I force it tangent, it prompts me, you sure the underlying curves aren't tangent? That's kind of cool. That might actually cause some bad habits on some beginning surfacing people, but it's pretty cool to see that work. I have not seen another program do that. Now my next step for the ISDX feature is to force a curve tangent on a curve on surface tangent at the end. I'm going to force that perpendicular to the end. Try that one more time. Normal to the surface, okay? And down here I'm going to force it tangent to the curve, tangent to the edge, and then pull it out. That way I get to control how much tangency occurs. Now, to be really cool, as I say, to sit at the cool table at GM, and in terms of surface modeling, I'd want to get this geometry to ride up into that area without actually adding an internal edit point. That internal edit point would give me, in Alias speak, two 3-degree curves span together as a 2-span curve. So let's see if I can get that curve to sort of ride up into that area there. It's not going. Let's force this one down some more. In my third installment, I show how to control this geometry parametrically, which I think is one of the strengths of ISDX, being able to kind of do both. I'm going to force this curve relative to this base plane outward to the right, which kind of brings that curve inward like I was trying to do. Okay, so there's my geometry. I'm going to go ahead and trim out of that. I'm going to go ahead and trim this using an the ISDX curve on surface using an outside surface trim. Let's merge the two, and I'll mirror that geometry. Go ahead and merge that geometry with the mirror geometry. And I typically don't use thicken, but I'm going to use thicken in this case. Let's merge that, and I'll use thicken to thicken the geometry. I typically don't use thicken in a production model, but in this case I'll go ahead and make it 0.24 for a thickness. Let's see if we can get a full round on that geometry. Looks like it might be a little taut in that area. I'm going to try to go ahead and get a full round to work. When I speak at the ProEngineer user conferences around the country, this is one of the models I try to do at the last minute here. Let's force that full round. Looks like it worked. Okay, and there's my second installment of the clay bake challenge. In the third installment, I'll parametrically modify how much the bake occurs before it gets fired in a kiln. All right. Thank you very much. My name is Bart Brecka. I hope you enjoyed the video, and take a look at some more. I plan on building others.